This is The Language of Business, a show to inform and inspire entrepreneurs and anyone thinking about a startup. Hear about strategies that work and strategies that often don't work from people who've been there and done that. Our host is Gregory Stoller, Harvard MBA and Senior Lecturer at Boston University Questrom School of Business. Here's Greg Stoller.
How do you tweak an international business without killing it? We're on location virtually with Yoshi Takeda, who is the president of Miki House in the United States. A few months ago, we visited them in their Mount Vernon location, which is just outside of New York City. And Mr. Takeda, welcome back to The Language of Business.
Hi, everything's great. I mean, of course, this coronavirus, issue is really affecting our business. However, our online business is booming. So our entire, sales in the United States actually more than last couple of months.
So you told us a few months prior that you came into the United States with a fairly high-priced platform. Now, in the middle of COVID-19, is that still the case?
It is the case, but of course, we lower the price, some of the standard items, so that it's got to be always, everyday good price. I wouldn't say low price, but because it's fair value prices. So that's what we are doing right now. And for the seasonal items, obviously, our stores are closed for a couple of months, so we had to get rid of it. So we reduce the prices for this for the customer service purposes and from the inventory point of view.
You originally told us that your best-selling product were baby shoes at $79. Is that still the case?
It is still the case. However, under this situation, people cannot go outside. And so we are promoting comfortable, durable, like an in-house wear. We say lounge wear. So, our very simple T-shirts and, easy, comfortable pants are selling very well in terms of quantity last couple of months.
In most of your brick and mortar concessions or stores, you said that the three key words were durability, sustainability, and quality. Now, being in the middle of COVID, do you think that message is still resonating with your customers?
It is, but I would add comfortable. This is most important because they have to stay inside of the house all day long. So it is very important for them to be comfortable.
But is the allure of having 3 generations of products, so a product that could last for 3 generations, still working while everybody is inside their homes?
Well, yes, it is. I mean, especially, they have to pass down and they have to buy. Well, I talked with, a top executive of Bloomingdale's department store. They say that, men's clothing is, sales is huge drop. However, children's clothing is still stable. It's maybe 15-20%, down. The reason why is because whatever happens, heavy rain, coronavirus, kids are growing out. So they have to buy the new items.
And do you think that Miki House's products are able to be viewed well enough online that parents don't have to worry about fittings or the touch and feel of your clothing, et cetera?
Well, that's a challenge, of course. But once they trust us and use it, they will understand that. So the first step is a very, difficult part. But we always try to explain, by the words. And sometimes, we also have a, phone conversation and email conversation, how it fits and those things. And also we're gonna have like a small interview with the actual user to show, how she or he use our products.
When we visited you in Mount Vernon, as I mentioned, just outside of New York City, you had an almost completely computerized warehouse. Have those operations at all been affected because of COVID?
It is. And we are so lucky to have that, automated system. Otherwise, we cannot survive. Our sales is really online, so 4 or 5 times, more than last year. So if we don't have that system, I don't know, maybe we have to pack everybody has to pack, So.
And how about things in Japan? Is your Japanese market reacting in a similar way in terms of a transition to online commerce and not having operations be affected, or is it different?
So our business is heavily depending on department stores, and people are not coming into the department stores, after it happens, and there's like a 1.5 months, closure period for most of the department stores. So, it is very difficult for us, and we are forced to switch from, offline to online. And in addition to that, the travelers, like Center Tokyo, Center Osaka, we had lots of international travelers. This is dead. Nobody's coming to Japan. I mean, nobody's traveling.
Right, of course.
So, that affects a lot our business. However, again, even in Japan, our online sales is 5 times more than last year. So it covers somehow. Yes.
And how about your other locations? I know you've been active in Russia, you've been active in China. Are any of those locations reacting similarly or differently?
China and Russia is different. China, it's, even though it's the, center, it's coming from there, but, they control very well. So we are actually opening up new stores in Shanghai, like last couple of weeks, and we're going to open up another store in Mongol, and we're going to open up another store. So we are actually expanding the business in, these East Asian countries. And, people are shopping, high-end business is booming, not only Miki House, but the other brand as well. So.
But are you and your team able to travel over there to supervise, or are you continuing to do everything via email or FaceTime or line, etc.?
WeChat.
Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I asked you this a couple of months ago, and I'd be interested to see if your answer would change now. What is your biggest worry about the future of the business?
Actually, I'm seeing more hope than worry. This is a wonderful opportunity to change ourselves and to remodel our business. So it is. I'm not so pessimistic about the situation. I would rather think that this is a wonderful opportunity to change ourselves. So, honestly, I'm not so much worried about it. Only the thing is of course, second wave, third wave, but I already calculated and it could happen. So, only the worry maybe is that supply chain probably, if it affects Japan or China where we produce our merchandise, the supply chain can be, stopped. That's only things. I see more demand in the market in the US. So, I'm not worried about the demand side. However, supply side, that's my probably big concern. Yeah.
If COVID stopped tomorrow and everybody started returning to your stores and to your concessions, do you still think that online commerce is a better distribution channel?
It is. Absolutely it is. And it's Corona, from my point of view, I thought that this online shift is going to be happening or completed, I would say, because it's already started from 3-4 years ago. So online shift, I have been already pushing towards online. And so now, because of the coronavirus, everything happening like in a couple of months instead of a couple of years. So, this is a direction in any case. But my point is how we can human touch, business, through online. So maybe, chat room, we have to probably open up a chat room, or we have to have face-to-face, maybe Zoom, setting. We have to have more, interactive, communication with the customers.
President Takeda, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yoshi Takeda, the president of Miki House America.
Big choices after college, right? Grad school, maybe? Soar from your undergraduate major to a great career in business. Biomedical engineer to healthcare analyst. Health science to clinical systems analyst. Mechanical engineer to solutions engineer. Before you know it, you can have a master's degree in management studies. 9 months and you're in business.
Is a business international just because, or because of one's international heritage? We're going to find out why right now. We're on location at the Boston University Questrom School of Business with Rodolfo Penna, and welcome to the Language of Business.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
You are Brazilian.
Yep.
And you're running 2 startups. Tell us about them.
So the first one is an idea that I got since I came here like 2 years ago. Before entering the MBA as a food business, I would like to bring some Brazilian recipes to US. Every single American that I knew at the moment loved Brazilian food. So, and I was very close to a big industry in Brazil, and they want to expand to US. So we started a project, bringing the food truck, serving those recipes, and that ended very well. So now we run pop-up restaurants and a food truck, and we are expanding this year for the best locations in Boston.
And the second one?
The second one I started here at Questrom on the Summer Accelerator. So it's called Hire 5. It's a marketplace connecting Brazilian and Latin American developers, software developers, to US startups.
If you had gone to school in Canada as opposed to in the United States, do you think these would be Canadian startups?
I think so. I think so, because I was coming here, I was able to see the market and understand the market needs. So probably I would look for opportunities in Canadian market. So we're just looking for how can I meet the customer needs. And as you are in the place, like in US in this case, I could see how to do that.
What is the difference between the average customer in Brazil versus the United States?
The average customer, first of all, income. It's a high income country here compared to Brazil. So people have more disposable income to spend. So they're looking for new things in case of food, like new business to go and spend and try new foods. And talking about startups, they have more opportunities. They have they can fund more, they can raise more capital, so they can expand their business quickly compared to Brazilian business.
It must be easier raising money in the United States, but is the loyalty of your investors the same if you are working with a Brazilian investor versus a US investor?
I never raised money here, but looking for the entrepreneurs that I know, it's definitely easier to raise money here because the offer of money, the possibilities that you have here in US are much higher than in Brazil. But I would say as you have more investors available, you tend to be, your investors, tend to be less into your business and create that relationship with you. For the food truck, we start getting investment from that company in Brazil, and we are now kind of friends and be partners in business for this venture. And we see a long relationship with that in the future.
How do you have time to work on both startups?
It's hard. I think the best way to do that is getting the right team and making sure that you have in place processes and you give ownership on the business for your team. You identify talent and make sure that you can make your best employees and partners also owners of the business, so they always work for the best interests.
And do you spend an equal amount of time on both?
No. So during the summer, I launched Hire 5, and I spent all the summer there working on Hire 5. And now I'm finishing my MBA second year, and I kind of dedicate my time for the business that needs more of my time at that moment.
What would you consider to be an outstanding exit strategy for either one?
Sell to a franchise chain. A new concept like Chipotle. Chipotle is a Mexican concept that was amazing in IPO and it's growing a lot. So as we get traction and open locations and brick and mortars, I definitely see that strategy. For Hire 5, I started the business thinking about generating a cash flow business, not selling and raising venture capital. As a startup, we're always looking for a different strategy and pivoting to one idea to another, so it can turns out to be totally different than I expect right now.
Rodolfo, obrigado por todo.
De nada. Obrigado você por me convidar a estar aqui.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Rodolfo Penna, talking about running two different startups while being a full-time second-year MBA student at the Boston University Questrom School of Business.
Are you a problem solver? Do you see the big picture and the small details? Want to turn big data into big decisions? Take AI to the boardroom. Translate rocket science into the science of business? Build your career at digital speed with a Master of Science in Business Analytics. Be ready for careers like analytics consultant, data science, analytics strategist, data translator, BI analyst, technical business analyst. 10 months and you're in business analytics.
How do you go about recruiting students for university not knowing what the future is going to bring? We're on location virtually with Liz Wagoner, who is the Director of Online MBA Admissions, and Dana MacFaun, the Director of MBA Admissions at Boston University Questrom School of Business. We originally sat down in February and were trying to figure out how the school was going to organize itself for admissions, and that was, of course, pre-COVID. Now the world has literally turned upside down. Dana, we'll start with you. What's happening on the graduate and MBA admissions side?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of over the last few months. We have actually seen an influx of applications since everything has happened. I think everything happening has really forced people to reevaluate their next steps and what they're looking to do with graduate management education. And so, yeah, it's been dealing with a lot of unknowns, but it's definitely brought a lot of great candidates to the table, and we're really excited for the people who've been applying.
Questrom has a terrific full-time and evening MBA that's called PEMBA. How are the applications shaking out? Are they even from a full-time and PEMBA side, or are you seeing the line skewed one way or another?
Yeah, we weren't really sure at first what we would see, but actually we've seen an uptick in both for applications. So we actually saw more applications in our final round for full-time and for our part-time or professional evening MBA than we anticipated. So, we were wondering, will it be more full-time or more part-time? But as of right now, we're seeing an increase in both.
And what's happening on the international side for the full-time MBA?
We got actually a lot of great applications for both domestic and international candidates. I think, we have something called the Learn from Anywhere modality, where students have the opportunity to do the fall semester from wherever they might be. So that has lessened the burden for international students to have to figure out how to move here for fall, which means they could apply later and still potentially start the program this fall. So we actually saw an increase of applications on both sides.
So this is pretty cool. You're saying that a student who formerly had to physically be in Boston to get his, her, or their graduate degree can now do this from really anywhere in the world.
Yeah, we're committed to delivering an on-campus experience, especially for those who are able to and feel safe being here and being on campus. But for those who don't, for whatever reason, whether it be visa restrictions or just health concerns, they'll have the opportunity to remote in and do the program. So our students will be able to participate in the program from wherever they are, and not in a separate, different program, but the same residential program just from wherever they might be.
Liz, we will turn to you. Your world not only has been turned upside down because of COVID, but if memory serves correctly, this is going to be the first time we are running an online MBA program at Boston University Questrom School of Business. What has it been like to start with that program from an admissions perspective from inception?
It's been really neat to be a part of this from the beginning. Our first class kicks off, not sure when this will air, but August 1, we sort of start our Mod 0 for this very first class, and they're an outstanding bunch. We've had to pivot a little bit, doing a lot of Zoom meetings as we finalize everything and finish the planning of launching this program. And we actually increased our class size because the quality and number of students was so great. We didn't want to turn away great applicants. So it's been really exciting, and I think I'm the most excited to see sort of them all start next week and connect with them as real official BU students and to be our first inaugural class.
How do you find applicants? I know that with traditional full-time or evening MBA programs, if you put up a website, they will come. Has that been the case with the online MBA in terms of getting eyeballs to visit a site or have your phone ring?
It's been really interesting. So actually the other day we have been doing our planning for these virtual events, and we hadn't done any advertising for it. We just put it on our website. And without even sending out a notification, we had over 200 registrants. And then we sent it out to our inquiry database and had over 600 registrants. So there is really great interest in the program. I think people are both looking for an alternative opportunity right now just because they're seeing remote learning versus online learning. And I've had a few students say, I never thought I would do this, but in a COVID world, now I'm thinking maybe an online education will work for me.
So Dana, let's go back to you for a second. Someone is interested in getting a graduate degree. There are a number of one-year specialized master's programs at the Boston University Questrom School of Business. There's online, there's full-time, there's evening MBA. How do you counsel someone to make any sort of simplicity of that maze of possibilities?
Yeah, there are many options. The good news is that, there's an option for everyone. And what really matters is that people are taking time to think through what the best fit is for them, and we're here to help. So when candidates reach out and want to connect and learn more, we're able to sort of counsel them and help them figure out what program is right for them. So, are they looking to make a career switch? Are they looking to move up within their current industry? Are they looking to get specialized education or more broader education? Are they looking to be in the Boston area on a residential campus and in a residential experience? Or are they looking to do it remotely? So, it's counseling. It's talking to candidates
Sure.
and about all the different options that we have. It's why we do so many virtual events, so that students are able to go through and really learn about each of the programs and figure out what the right one is for them. Liz and I are actually doing a virtual event quite soon, where that's exactly what we're doing, is helping people to understand what the different programs are, so that they can figure out what the best fit is for them. They're all great programs. It's just a matter of finding the one that makes sense for each candidate and what their particular goals are.
In preparing for this segment, I noticed that Questrom has recently increased the size of its online MBA program. How is that possible? Is there a cap? How should a prospective applicant think through that, please?
So we did increase our class size. So we are going to be bringing in a class of 400 for this fall 2020 and a class of 400 for January 2021. So we are already recruiting for that next cycle. And so what I would say to the student is we do have caps. We do have rounds of applications, but we're never looking for reasons to deny you. It's not like undergrad. We are looking for reasons to admit you. In the online MBA, we have a little bit more wiggle room because it's not like literal seats in the classroom where you run out of seats. That's not to say we don't have caps. Like I said, we do. But what we'll do, so for example, for January, if we have so many great applicants that we can't offer everyone we want to a seat for January, we'll just look at them for the next start date. So for August 2021. So we would say, hey, we really like you. You're a great fit. We're out of seats in this particular class, but we'd like to offer you a seat in a future class. So if you're admissible, we want to see you in the Questrom Online MBA.
What does your crystal ball say about the future of online education?
I would say that I think that students are particularly students that are in school right now, are starting to realize that there is a difference between remote learning and online learning. And I think that's a big distinction. And so, I think that online learning is becoming more and more acceptable. More and more programs are adding on online options, which are different than just, what happened to us in March, where we had to take our on-campus programs and throw them online. We've been really thoughtful in building out the online MBA from the ground up, and really thoughtful in how the curriculum is still delivered and developed, and making sure it's with the online learner in mind. And I think it's true, more and more students are going to look for that as an opportunity. But I also think there's a really strong value in an on-campus education as well. And so it really just depends on, everybody is different. Dana talks a little bit about fit and assessing fit. And I think that there is room for everyone at the table. And what for me is most important, that students know of all their options, and then get in front of someone like Dana or myself and get counseled on which might be the best fit for them. And that's really what's important.
Do you think COVID has had a positive or negative impact on applications for the online program?
I have to admit it has been positive. I feel weird saying that. But I think there has been some students that have lost tuition remission or tuition reimbursement programs, and that certainly is a negative. But in general, I think it has showed students that there is value in online learning, and so it has opened their eyes to a program that they might not have previously looked at.
Dana, do you worry that online is going to cannibalize full-time or evening MBA seats?
I think that certainly was an initial concern. Again, wondering what's going to happen when we expand our portfolio of offerings. But I think Liz said it really well, which is that there's a seat at the table for everyone. I think each of the programs offers something a little bit different for different people and how they learn differently and what it is they're looking to get out of the experience. So they're really each of the different programs really is meant for people looking for different things, and all of those people still exist in the world. So I actually think that, we're finding that we're just actually able to provide a broader range of offerings so that we're offering the right fit to everyone, as opposed to cannibalizing from existing programs. So no, I think there are still people who very much want the residential experience or want the other sort of benefits that come with the residential programs. And then there are people who want the online experience. And so I actually think that there's, like I said, Liz said it best, there's room for all of them.
And this segment is going to be on international business, and it's heartening to know that people all over the world are still attracted to different programs, either residentially, evening-wise, or online too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Liz Wagoner, Director of the Online MBA for Boston University Questrom School of Business. Dana MacFaun, Director of MBA Admissions, also for Questrom. Thank you both for appearing today on The Language of Business.
I think the students that do very well have two passions that they're working on. The first, of course, is they need to manage people. They like to manage people. They like running projects, running products. They like dealing with organizational challenges. And the second thing I find is that they're very curious and interested in how technology can make changes, both to the company they're serving, or to the customers, or to even suppliers and vendors. The students have to be change agents, because no matter what you do with technology, you are changing the way people work.
So technology is often used as the instrument for creating organizational change. Organizational change is difficult to create, and the construction of a digital artifact is often the way that an organization affects that change.
Yeah.
And so our students are very, very well positioned to be sitting in an organization doing that, because they understand the organizational structure and the management structure and the business structure with their MBA degree, and they understand the technology piece in order to produce the artifact that's going to do that.
Support for The Language of Business is from Boston University Questrom School of Business. We're also available as a podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get podcasts. Thanks for watching.